What's going on, everyone? So HIIT, or also known as high intensity interval training, is a new thing that's kind of coming around as the miracle workout program that's going to have the best fat loss. Well, in today's video, I'm going to actually describe to you what HIIT is, why it is so effective, and my 3 favorite types of HIIT workouts in order to have the fastest fat loss results possible. Be sure to keep watching. So what is HIIT exactly, or high intensity interval training? In absolutely no scientific terms here, it's kicking your butt into the ground for a short period of time and then resting. That's all it is. So you can think of a 10-second all-out sprint. And when I mean all out, it needs to be all-out effort, like you're being chased from a lion. And then you get to rest for about 90 seconds till your body fully recovers. Now, what a lot of people do wrong with HIIT is they take that short rest, that time they have to work for, so sometimes it's 10 to 20 to 30 seconds, and they'll do it kind of a half-assed type of way. So they don't do a full-out effort. In order for HIIT to be effective, you must go full-on effort, as hard as you can, as explosive as you can, in order to get the most bang for your buck. You get a long rest period for most of these workouts, so really try to push yourself. Now, what makes HIIT so effective is during that time you're working for that 10 to 20 to 30 seconds, is you're using a lot of muscle groups, a lot of energy, and a lot of oxygen to produce that much energy. And you'll actually go into something called an oxygen deprivation, where your oxygen stores will become very low. Now, what happens, what makes HIIT so very effective, is that it takes a long time to get those oxygen deficit levels back to normal. It takes a long time for your hormones to get back to normal. And in order to do that, the body actually has to burn a lot of calories in order to do that. So some of you may have heard something called of EPOC, excessive post-oxygen consumption, and that's what happens with HIIT. The body gets into severe oxygen deprivation, hormone levels start to drop. In order to get back to that baseline, the body has to burn a lot more calories in order to bring those oxygen levels from way down here all the way back up to the baseline, which allows you to burn calories from up to 24 to 48 hours later, depending on whatever studies you've seen. So my first strategy in order to do HIIT training the proper way is just basic sprints. Now, with sprints, we really want to keep the work period from about 30 to 60 seconds, with 45 seconds usually being a very good sweet spot in for this. And there's a main reason why we want to work 30 to 60 seconds is because it hits the anaerobic lactic system. And when you hit the anaerobic lactic system, lots of lactic acid will build up, and in order, which eventually, if you have your lactic acid system build up enough, it causes a greater spike in growth hormone after your workout. So that's the primary reason why we want to hit the 30 to 60 second range. Now, there's a lot of ways to do it. One of my favorite methods is actually sprinting up a treadmill. So a lot of people, I don't like to have them sprint on a treadmill. I like to have the treadmill at a 15% incline, so you can't overly push yourself in terms of sprinting, so it's a little bit safer in that regard. And I'll have them sprint for about 30 seconds. So it's a 15-degree incline. And you're going to run for 30 seconds. Rest can be anywhere between, it really kind of depends on your level of, if you're super deconditioned, rest can be all the way up to 3 minutes on this one. If you're more in shape, you can have it at 90 seconds. If you're really in shape and you really want to push yourself and you kind of want to die, 60 seconds is good. So that's one pretty effective way to do that. Basic other simpler methods, instead of running on an incline or 15% incline on a treadmill, you can do it on the erg. So simple erg sprints. I like to actually do 30 seconds on, 90 seconds off for about 10 to 15 rounds. And for this one, for the treadmill sprints, I usually do about 6 to 10. Usually I'm in about 8 reps before I kind of want to die and hurt myself. So the other way is erg, 30 seconds on, 90 seconds off. We're in that anaerobic threshold. You can do it even on the elliptical if you really want to. Bikes are good too. You can use battle ropes. So anything that you can think of to really get that heart rate going. But remember, sprinting is going to be the best because it uses the most amount of muscle. It physically uses every muscle in the body, so that's why you're going to have the most bang for your buck. Erg is also pretty good for this as well. Bikes really only use the legs, so they're not as effective, but they will build up a lot of lactic acid. The elliptical is a little bit harder to kind of put out a resistance that's hard enough, but all these methods are effective. It just really depends on what level you're at. So if you're a high performing athlete, sprints are always good. If you're kind of like a weekend warrior, the erg is good. And if you're kind of in the decondition phase, an elliptical or bike is a good way to start out. I will also say that with strategy number one, a really also effective strategy is something called a Tabata Set. So I'm sure a lot of you probably have heard of this a lot. It's very popular. So it's 8 rounds of 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off. And again, these 20 seconds are very, very all out. You can do whatever you can think of with this. Sprints, bikes, jumping, you can name it. You can make this into a workout. So that's a very popular one. And you can just kind of think that with this strategy one and these type of sprinting protocols, nothing's really wrong, nothing's really right. As long as what you're doing is you're pushing yourself super hard during this 20 seconds. That's the key point. But like I said, you still want to be within that 30 to 60 second range for that total amount of work. 45 being kind of the prime example. If you think about, if any of you have done track, 45 seconds is probably equivalent to about a 300 meter run for a lot of you. And if you've ever run 300 meters as fast as you can, you know it absolutely sucks. But it's really effective in order for fat loss and to get you in shape very quickly. So that's kind of why we've kind of gone with that 45 second mark. So another really effective strategy is actually to combine weight training with some type of sprint. So places like Orange Theory actually do this quite a bit. Their stuff is not as advanced, I would say, but this is something that they actually incorporate, and it's very effective for weight loss. So like I said, we're incorporating weight training with the sprint. So I have here an example of how to actually incorporate this. And what we have here is we have a lower body exercise paired with an upper body exercise paired with the sprint. Now why do we have it this way? So the lower body exercise is going to send blood down to the lower extremities. The upper body exercise is then going to send the blood back up to the upper extremities, so we have to move it much more. And then we have a 30-second sprint. So whenever you're doing these type of weight training exercises with the sprint, where you're trying to have fat loss, always combine a lower body exercise with an upper body exercise. It's more effective for fat loss. You'll get better results. So here we have goblet squat for 10 reps. So this can be 10 to 15 reps depending on what your comfort level is. Then we have dumbbell shoulder press for 10 reps. Between goblet squats and dumbbell shoulder press, there's no rest whatsoever. Once you're done with the 10 shoulder press, you're going to go do a 30-second sprint. Now, I have it here on the airdyne bike, which if you know what the airdyne bike is, it's killer. It's absolutely terrible. It's a full body workout, but it's a 30-second sprint. So we have 10 reps, and then 30-second sprint. And then depending on, again, on your fitness level and where you're at, you can rest anywhere between 60 and 120 seconds. Now, there's more advanced ways to do this. And so instead of doing a goblet squat, you could just make this into a squat. So instead of doing a dumbbell shoulder press, we could turn this into a barbell shoulder press and use a little bit more weight. This is a little bit more of an advanced method, but if you're kind of just starting out, the goblet squat to dumbbell shoulder press are good ways with a 30-second sprint. Now, this sprint, again, should be all out, full out. There should be nothing left. 30 seconds can be quite taxing on this part, so you can also just drop this down to about 15 seconds. 20 seconds is good. Anything over 30 in this case is just going to be kind of too taxing on the body. You won't be able to sustain that high level of effort for that long. Now, strategy 3 is probably my favorite and probably one of my clients' favorite as well. And what it's called strongman training. Now, strongman training is kind of what people like to think is more of a functional type of skill work. And things that incorporate functional training are things like farmer's carries, sled pushes, sled drags, sledgehammer tire hits, ball slams, tire flips, rope climbs, things of that nature. And you kind of just put this back to back. And what this does is it builds a ton of lactic acid throughout the body. Now remember, when you build lactic acid in the body, your growth hormone levels go up, which causes you to lose fat quicker. So what this, like what I said, farmer's carries works the entire body, sled pushes work the entire body, sledgehammer tire hits, it's a very explosive movement, so you actually will use a lot more of your hormones in order to hit it, and especially your energy system. Ball slams are very explosive as well. And so a few different ways you can do this. For farmer's carries, you can do this for distance, or you can do it for time. For farmer's carries, I do distance, go down and back twice or so. Sled pushes, I also like to do it for distance. If you really want to get kind of crazy with this, you can do a sled push for time. That 30-60 second range is also going to be very good for this. Sledgehammer tire hits, I'll do about 10 hits per each side. So we make sure when you do these sledgehammer tire hits, you're not just constantly doing one side, make sure we're doing both sides equally. And then ball slams, this one I'll do for time, or this one I'll do for about 15 slams, or even with ball slams, I'll have a few different variations. So one will be a straight down, then side to side, then throwing against the wall for 10 reps for each one. Now, like I said, this is my favorite one, and it is the most effective. And this one's really kind of, wherever your imagination takes you, you can do. The problem with strongman training is not a lot of gyms have this type of equipment. They don't have farmer's carries, they don't have sled pushes, they don't have sledgehammer tire hits, they don't have ball slams. But if your gym does have a lot of this stuff, it is the most effective way for fat loss. It is my favorite way for fat loss, and you will get the best results with this type of training. So if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to my channel. Also, if you're interested in learning about more fitness tips and tricks, you can visit my website at joshkumosfitness.com. Thank you all so much for watching.